Welcome to another auction review video, and this time we are looking at the Stroud Auctions, the auction or sale that they held between the 9th and the 11th of March 2022. Now this was a huge sale, lots of antiques, but there was a transport section within it with automobilia and other parts, and a small selection of classic motorcycles. So we're going to pick through half a dozen of those to show you some of the examples that were sold. First up, lot 2055A, a 1982 Kawasaki Z650 F2. Now these were a 650cc inline 4 double overhead cam engine producing around 66 brake horsepower. These were the sort of smaller, more manageable version than the bigger brother that at this point was the Z1100 inline 4, which was a massive sort of 270 kilograms wet weight. The 650, a bit more manageable, 237 kilograms. A really attractive, I think these are really good looking bikes, and they represent pretty good value at the moment as well. This one 1982, so it's hit the 40-year mark, so you'll be able to get it MOT free going forward. Also eligible for the vast majority of classic events. So fully restored and running, really good looking bike in this really nice looking light green, metallic green paintwork. Estimate on this, £3,000 to £4,000. It achieved £4,480 all in. Next bike, lot 2060, is a 1965 Greaves Essex. Now, most of us associate Greaves with the off-road bikes that they produced, sort of scramblers and trials machines, and maybe even the three-wheeled Invacar that they also produced after the war, which is quite an interesting vehicle. But alongside those, they did produce a decent number of road-going machines as well, sort of commuter bikes, if you like, that would have been alternatives to the other Villiers engine machines, such as the Francis Barnett's, James's, and I suppose an alternative to the BSA Bantam as well. This particular bike is a 250cc two-stroke twin-cylinder bike, attractive looking machine, finished in that sort of recognisable Greaves light blue. Also features the very recognisable H-beam alloy section front frame, the leading link front suspension that you see on the off-road bikes. Fully restored, running riding machine, very attractive looking bike I think for its time. Estimate on this bike was £2,500 to £3,500. It achieved £2,800 including premium, so an absolute bargain. It must have had a fortune spent on it. A very cheap and easy access way to get into classic motorcycling. So from an on-road Greaves to the ones we are more familiar with, an off-road version. So lot 2061, 1962 Greaves Scottish. So this features, again, a Villiers engine, 250cc, but all alloy, lightweight, single cylinder this time. Very nicely presented bike from the same owner or vendor as the on-road version that we've just seen. Running and riding, ready to go basically. Estimate on this, £1,500 to £2,500. It achieved £1,800 all in. So again, a real bargain. Lot 2063, another lightweight two-stroke, but completely different to the Greaves we've just looked at. This is a 1952 Motor Guzzi Guzzino. So 65cc two-stroke engine, mounted to what looks like pretty much a bicycle frame as such, but it isn't an autocycle, it isn't a moped, it doesn't have any pedals, so it is a motorbike. Very interesting machine. Pressed steel front forks with like a girder fork style spring near the headstock. It's also sprung at the rear end as well, and you've got a sprung saddle, so I'm sure it's a very comfortable machine to ride. Nicely presented, fully restored. It was a lockdown project for the vendor. It runs and it rides, and they're quite pretty little bikes these, and I'd love to have a go on one actually. But estimate on this, £1,500 to £2,000, and on this occasion it didn't sell, so still available. Lot 2065. So we just mentioned the Motor Guzzi not being an autocycle. Well, this one definitely is. It's a 1940 New Hudson 98cc autocycle. So these were very cheap forms of transport. This made, well, just in the early parts of the war years, two-stroke engine mounted to basically a bicycle frame. Comes with pedal power, this one. A nice little restoration project, so it's all complete. It looks in really sound condition, all the tinware and everything there as well. It should be a fairly simple project for someone to take on. Comes with its original buff logbook, so you could get it registered. Lots of these lost their number plates back in the sort of 80s and 90s when dealers sort of worked out the fact that you could get these MOT'd and sell the number plates very cheaply and make handsome profit. So it's nice to see one with its original number plate still retained. Estimate on this, £500 to £1,000. It achieved £560 all in. Now the final lot that I'm going to look at from this auction is the one that I wish I could have bought. Lot 2067 is this BSA B35-2. So it's a 1935 250cc single cylinder overhead valve machine. Presented here, lovely patina to this bike. It's a running, riding machine, it runs well. It's been in family ownership for the last 40 years. It's got quite a cool registration number actually. Its original reg, the ANY, so NE312. Came with boxes full of spares. Don't know if it's original engine and frame matching numbers. It doesn't reference that in the description, but it does retain some of those really nice features that were of the time of BSAs in this period, such as the really nicely shaped and curved clutch and brake levers that were unique to BSA, and those pie crust filler caps on the tank, which are just absolutely gorgeous things. I'd love it. Basically, I want this bike in my garage. Estimate on this, £3,000 to £5,000. It achieved £4,032 all in. So all in all, nice little selection of bikes, sensibly estimated on the prices that were put forward. They were cheap, these bikes, so it's definitely a buyer's auction. I think the fact that it was attached to a much bigger 3-day sale meant that perhaps it wasn't as visible as some of the standalone bike auctions, but yeah, some bargains in there really. Keep an eye out then for further auction videos as we go through the year, and check out our second channel, Classic Motorcycle Channel 2, for more great content.